Good morning, friends. It's Wonderful Wednesday. How is everybody today? Hey, Angie, good morning. Miffy, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Today we're working on a scarf, a little wheat stitch scarf action on this Wednesday morning. That's how it's looking so far. I've used one skein of yarn, so I've got to tie on a new skein here. It wouldn't let me change the sticker this morning, guys. I don't know what's going on in TikTok land. So it is Wednesday, but we have a Tuesday sticker. You know how it goes. Hey, Pam, good morning. Kelly, good morning. How are you? Kimberly, good morning, friend. I'm working on a scarf today, guys. Really pretty yarn. I love this yarn. I do love this yarn. It is really pretty, isn't it, Margaret? Look at that. This is a colorway Birchwood Cottage. Doesn't it just look perfect for the wheat stitch? I think it's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. Look at it. I can't get enough. This stitch is a yarn eater. I will say that though. It is definitely a yarn eater. Yeah, it is really soft. It's really pretty and subtle. Hey Randa, good morning. Welcome in. Kay, good morning. Water heater went out yesterday. Oh no, Kelly, that is the worst. So sorry to hear that. Did it make a huge water mess everywhere? That is, oh, heartbreaking. I love the wheat stitch too. I've only been making the wheat stitch for a week, guys. And yeah, I'm really digging it. So we're doing lots of wheat stitch action. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm doing a single crochet in the back loop only. And we're doing that the whole way down. Hey, Lefty, good morning. Lefty, I'm so glad to see you this morning. I know you're usually at work, so this is a nice surprise for you to pop in. Queen, good morning. How are you, friend? Welcome, welcome. Mama Wheeler stayed last night in Shamrock, Texas. She'll be here tomorrow. Tonight they're supposed to stay outside Little Rock. She said they've had good weather so far for the trip and doing well. They got into their hotel last night. So excited about that. Ooh, it's kind of staticky coming out of the roll here. I don't know why it's staticky because we had a little rain last night. Hey, Rita, good morning. Yeah, I'm excited to see my mom. So today is officially the first day of my vacation. With that being said, I have, you know what I absolutely love, you guys? I have a load of towels in the washing machine this morning. It just stopped. I love the smell of laundry, especially when I do the towels. I have white towels. I put in a little bleach. I don't know what it is. Something about the smell of laundry is just so refreshing and revitalizing. I love that smell. So anyhow, we're doing a little laundry this morning. I got to put the towels into the dryer. Carrie, good morning. Welcome in. I got to put the towels in the dryer in a little bit here. Mimi, good morning. Yeah, fresh sheets and towels, right? They're just so yummy. It feels so crisp and refreshing and invigorating. I love that. Betty Joe, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. So anyhow, I've got that going, and then I need to do a load of my own clothes. So I'll have some fresh stuff to wear. I'm out of black t-shirts. That's what I prefer to do is wear a lot of black. I wear a lot of black. That's just kind of my little thing. So yeah, especially when they're hung up outside now, Queen. I can't say that I actually do that part, but they are going to go in the dryer. But yeah, it's my mom used to do sheets and hang them outside. Elaine, welcome in from Scotland, my friend. I made Lefty said I made a matching set of beanie hat, scarf, and ear warmers. Hand washing them now. Nice. Everybody's working on their little fall projects, feeling like sweater weather. I do love that. I love that feeling. Have you seen Briana K's Wheat Stitch Coffee Cues? I have seen that, Carrie. It is really cute. And Kelly shared with me one of her reels, and it is for the Wheat Stitch chevron. Have you guys seen that? This is a scarf we're making, Crisp. Yeah, I'm working on a Wheat Stitch scarf this morning. So right now I'm doing a single crochet in the back loop only. I've done 2 rows. I chained 220 for this scarf. Then I added one more as my turning chain. So really 221. And it's about 65 inches long. So it's going to be good. I think I probably will put a little fringe on it. And then I want to make a beanie to match. So I'll have like a set. It is a yarn eater, Aneve. It's very much a yarn eater. So, as I mentioned, this is about 65 inches, and I literally just changed yarn. I got 2 full rows of the wheat stitch. So when you do the wheat stitch, it's in a pattern of 4. Cindy, good morning. Just got my laundry out to dry. Yes, 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 yes. I love the smell of laundry. Marcia said, "What are you making?" I'm making a scarf this morning, friends. Working on a wheat stitch scarf. Okay. But this is a yarn eater. So I was able to get, you start with, I did a chain of 221. The wheat stitches worked in equal it's worked in two increments of 2. So however long you want to do it, work in increments of 2. So that's my 220. It is heavy. It's really kind of thick because that stitch. But it is really nice and it's going to be cozy. So I do like that part of it. Why is that shopping bag still there? Oh my goodness. That is just annoying to me. That stupid TikTok. Oh, sorry. Sorry, TikTok. We love you. Get your shopping bag out of my live. It is a heavy yarn eater. So I did single crochet. I worked in the back loop, which gave me my finished edge right here. Then I worked a single crochet in the back loop all the way around. That's what gave me this little loop here. Then I did 2 of the wheat stitches, back to our 2 single crochet rows, and then 2 of our wheat stitches, and then single crochet. And I got, with that first skein of yarn, I got to right here. So only this much. So it took 1 skein. Now I have 3 skeins. I actually have like 6 skeins of this, but I have 3 in my lap. It's not showing on my end. Oh, okay, well that's good, Rita. Maybe it's just my tablet that has that shopping cart. I've been trying to get rid of it because I don't sell anything on my live. I'm just here to hang out and crochet and have my coffee and try to wake up for the morning. I have been awake for a while. I've been up since about 5 crocheting. It's 7:30 now. But I haven't had a lot of conversations, so I probably sound pretty growly this morning and raspy. It's empty on my end. Yeah, it's empty. There's nothing in the cart, but I just was trying to remove it completely from the live. I guess I'm back to the drawing board. Oh well, at least it's empty. I do not do the foundation row instead of the chains. I'm kind of an old school gal, and I know I should probably try to learn the foundation chain, but I haven't really gotten around to learning that. So I just do a chain. I chain 220. Then I worked in the back loop, and I really like how that looks with the finished edge. So that's what I did. So we're working on our second row of the single crochet. You work the wheat stitch 2 rows, and then you do 2 rows of single crochet in between. And Leah said, no notifications. Oh no. And you guys, I've been slacking. I haven't been making my TikTok events. I'm sure you noticed. Debbie, this yarn that I'm using this morning is, I love this yarn. And I got this at Hobby Lobby, but it is the colorway Birchwood Cottage. Birchwood Cottage. Hopefully, I'll get back on track with making my TikTok events, guys. I've been kind of slacking. I've been trying to get the house cleaned up and get ready for my mom to be here. She's going to be here tomorrow, friends. Last night, they stayed in Shamrock, Texas, and they're working their way to me. So by tomorrow afternoon, my mom and stepdad should be here to hang out for a couple days. So they'll be here Thursday afternoon, and then they'll stay Friday and Saturday, and then they'll leave Sunday morning and head down to Florida. This is a 4-weight yarn that I'm using, 100% acrylic. This is a really nice yarn. I really do love this yarn. So hard to say that with a straight face, you guys. Really pretty, 100% acrylic, 252 yards. Now, so far, I have used one full skein of this. I think it's going to take 3 skeins, to be honest, to make this scarf. This wheat stitch is quite a bit of a yarn eater. So you can see I've done 2 rows. And how wide do you make your scarves, guys? Do you make them like how wide do you make them? Like 6 inches? That tape measure is broken. Let's try this one. This is called Birchwood Cottage. So my first skein got me basically 3 inches. How wide do you make your scarves? I'm curious. Do you make them 6 inches? Obviously, if I do another 2 of the wheat, that would get me to 6 inches. Maggie said 6 to 7. So then in that case, the next girl, it would take 2 skeins of yarn. I chained 220 and it is about 65 inches long. So it'll give me, so 2 skeins should be enough. And then I'm also going to do a beanie as well, but I'm using a size I9 hook this morning. So Birchwood Cottage, really pretty yarn. Oh, I was going to look. I think this is machine washable and dryable. That's what I got my yarn to see. Where does it tell me? Medium 4 weight. I am using an I9 5.5 millimeter, 40 degrees Celsius. So you can wash and then it has a dryer too. Yeah, so you can wash and dry it. It's a nice yarn, really nice yarn. I always end up making my scarves too wide. Well, Lefty, I don't have a lot of experience making scarves. It's not something that I have really done a whole lot of in my life. I have made 1.5 scarves. This is what would be my third scarf in my life, believe it or not. I know y'all are probably shocked by that. Gen X girl, Purple Heart, welcome in. Westy Lover, good morning, welcome. Guys, I'm sorry if TikTok didn't give you notifications. Also, it would not allow me to change the stickers this morning, and it said I had 1 subscriber. So who knows what is happening in TikTok land, y'all. Just hang out, have your coffee. Let's do some crocheting, and let's not worry about all of the TikTok whatchamacallit, who's a god, whatever things that are happening. We'll just hang out and hopefully next week all the little bugs and kinks will be worked out as they are rolling out this new thing. So anyhow, Karen, welcome in. How are you, my friend? Words are hard this morning. Words are definitely hard. Coffee, please. Yes. Lori, I it's not that I don't like doing scarves. I just haven't done or felt the need to do scarves. Um, Little Wise Owl, great question, said, could you estimate how long it will take you to complete this beautiful scarf? Beautiful colors and stitch. Um, so 900 yards cover the hat and scarf. Yeah, I can usually get one hat out of a skein when I do the wheat stitch. I'm going to do a beanie. And each skein is 252 yards. And the scarf, I think, is going to take 3 skeins. So that's 500. So like 750 yards, but you're safe with 3 skeins. Anyhow, yeah, words are hard today, guys. I'm trying to get ready for my mom to be here. And anyhow, I got laundry going today. I still haven't made her bed. Now all the sheets are washed. They're just piled in on the bed. So I've got to do that this morning. Also this morning when I get off the live, I get I do blood work today. I have my RA appointment. I usually do my RA doctor. He lets me go like 6 months. And my RA appointment is on Monday. So I've got to go ahead of time and do my blood work, which means I have to drive over to Gadsden, the other city that's near us. So I've got that happening today, and then I'm going to come home. I'm officially on vacation. So that is an exciting thing. But I do have a lot of cleaning still to do before mom gets here. So it's kind of a working around the house kind of vacation. But I got to have my morning coffee and crochet with my friends. So here we are, you know. Let's get this vacation started right. Hey, JT, welcome in. Good morning. Jennifer G, welcome. I didn't see you pop in. Rachel is here. Good morning. Vicky, how are you? Brits, good morning. I appreciate you being here this morning, hanging out. Hope everybody's having a fabulous week thus far. Red Lady, welcome in. Good morning. Karina said one of my first projects was a half double crochet scarf. I still haven't gotten to wear it. So the first scarf I ever did, Karina, was that hat scarf that we did this past February that I'm putting in the county fair. That was my first time ever making a scarf. Okay, guys, so here we are. We're done with the single crochet in the back loop. I'm going to chain one and we're going to turn our work. And now we're going to start the wheat stitch part of this scarf, or carry on with the wheat stitch part of this scarf. So let me catch up on the comments here and then we'll kind of do some stitch talk if y'all are interested. Winky, welcome in. Shinbone Valley. I'm not sure where that is, but that's a fun name to say. Shinbone Valley. I feel like that could be here in Alabama. This is a beautiful colorway. This, friends, if you're wondering, is I love this yarn. And this is the colorway Birchwood Cottage. Birchwood Cottage. And we're working on a wheat stitch scarf this morning. Isn't that pretty colors, though? The grays, the tans. It's just a really pretty yarn. I really like this colorway. I'm going to make a beanie to go with this as well. So Carrie said, working on my first newborn coat. Well, that sounds like a fun project. When I was doing the wheat stitch, guys, this is the right side of my project. So we're working on the back right now. I did 2 single crochets before I started the wheat stitch pattern. So right here at the edge, we're doing 2 single crochets. Then we're going to start on these wheats. Now this wheat stitch, you can find this on Briana K YouTube. Briana K. She is queen of the wheat stitch, and I've been doing a lot of the wheat stitch this week, and last week. Priscilla, good morning. Welcome in. So for the first stitch, I'm going to go into the first stitch, and we're going to do a single crochet in the back loop. Then I'm going to go in the second stitch and also work in the back loop. When you look at crochet stitches, the top of the stitch looks like a sideways V. Can you kind of envision how that looks like a V there? Normally when you work stitches, you go under both loops. When I'm working my single crochets, I'm working in the back loop only. This loop that is away from me is the back loop, and this one here that is closest to me is the front loop. So that's how I'm working that stitch. Thank you so much for the tiny dinies, Red Lady. I appreciate that. Okay, now the wheat stitch is worked in increments of 2. So we're going to work in these next 2 chains that we have right here, or top of the stitches here, I guess I should say. We're going to skip 1, and now I'm going to work under both loops, and I'm going to do a single crochet in the second stitch. Then if we kind of spread our work apart here, this is the stitch that I skipped right here. See him hiding in there? Now we're going to do the wheat stitch. The wheat stitch is basically a modified puff stitch. Okay, so here we go. We're going to wrap our yarn around. I'm going to go find that stitch right here, and I'm going to go under both loops all the way through, grab up a loop, and I'm going to pull that loop up nice and tall to match the other height of our stitches. Then I'm going to hold that, and I'm going to wrap around again, and I'm going to go right back down in and repeat that. We need to gather up another loop. So all the way through, grab that yarn, once again, pull it up nice and tall. So now we have our starting loop here on the right, and then we have 2 and 4. So a total of 5 loops on our hook this morning. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this loop now through the first 4 stitches, and that will leave 2 left on my hook. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. So what happens as you make this stitch, because we're skipping 1 and working that single crochet, and then we're working that modified puff around that stitch that we skipped, it is causing that puff stitch to lean to the side. And that is what is giving it that really, really cool texture. Cindy, good morning. Welcome in. So now we're going to skip one into the next, single crochet, again under both loops. Now we're going to come back. We're going to pick up this stitch right here that I missed. Okay. So wrap our yarn around. Again, this is a modified puff stitch all the way through. Grab up our loop, pull it up nice and tall. And now we're going to hold here. And we're going to wrap around again. So yarn over, right back down into that same stitch, grab up another loop and pull that up nice and tall. So here's our starting loop. We have 4 additional loops, a total of 5 loops. At this point, we're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this loop underneath these first 4 stitches. Now we're back to 2, and we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. So now we have 2 little wheats. Isn't that cool how they're leaning sideways? Just like magic. Just like magic, they're working out. Debbie, good morning. Welcome in. Yolanda, good morning, my friend. Dana K in the house. How are you, Dana? Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now, once again, you can kind of pull this to the side if you need to envision where this stitch is at. It's right here where this thumb is. And we're going to yarn over, go all the way through our work. And we're going to pull up a loop. Pam is here. Hey, Pam, how are you? Pull that stitch up nice and tall, nice and tall. And we're just going to hold that there. And we're going to repeat yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall. So we have our starting loop here on the right, an additional 4 loops, total of 5 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this one through the first 4 loops here. Okay, now we're back to 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Now, once again, we're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. DIY, welcome in. Glad to have you here this morning. Kiana, good morning. Lori is here. Welcome, welcome. Now what we're going to do is come back and pick up this one we stitched with a modified puff. Yarn over, right down in all the way through. Pull up a loop nice and tall. Now we have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, right back down in. Pull up that loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall. You want these stitches to kind of work out to be even. When you first started the row, how many stitches do you do before your wheat stitch on the row? Paige, I did 2 single crochets. So right here leading up to my wheat stitch, I did 2 single crochets there on the edge of my scarf. Lori, you absolutely can. Thanks for asking. This yarn I'm using this morning is I love this yarn. Boy, do I love this yarn, y'all. This is 100% acrylic. We get this at Hobby Lobby. This is the colorway Birchwood Cottage. And it just feels like fall to me as the grasses in the field start to do their decline. Feels like a wheat stitch. Really, really pretty yarn. The wheat stitch is done in increment. It's actually a 4-row repeat, Miss Gina. This is the right side of the work if I turn it over. So you work a single crochet, then you work a single crochet in the back loop. Then we do 2 rows of the wheat stitch. So right now we're doing the first half. Once we come back and do the other half, it'll come together and get your little wheat effect. Then you have your 2 rows of single in between. Now, some people do opt to do more rows in between the wheat stitch, and it will help to set apart your wheats and give it a little more definition. So that's a possibility as well. Paige, I am using US terms. I am over here in the United States. So single as an American single, yes. And in Europe, that would be a double. That is correct. So here we are back to our modified puff stitch. Okay, we have our starting loop here on the right. We have an additional 4 loops. We have 5 loops here in total on our hook. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this loop through the first 4 stitches. That will leave us with 2 on the hook. And now we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. So this is what I like to call a modified puff stitch, guys. We're working it around a single crochet, which is what is causing this stitch to lean over to the left. This is my right hand here. You guys are looking at the work. I'm sitting on the couch. We are looking at my project just as I am crocheting this. This is a pattern. The wheat stitch is very, very popular, and it is made by Briana K over on YouTube. Now, you can work this with a variety of yarns. I didn't bring any beanies with me over here, guys, but I do have the pumpkin that we are doing. This is an extremely popular pattern in fall where you make a pumpkin with the wheat stitch. We worked on this last week. Tomorrow on the live, we're going to be finishing up the pumpkin. So that is what is on deck for tomorrow. But here you can kind of see how it works up with a different colorway. So for the pumpkin, I love this yarn, burnt orange. And then for the variegated yarn is I love this yarn in autumn stripe. So we're going to work on more wheat stitch tomorrow as we finish up this pumpkin. But if you are interested in making either the wheat stitch pumpkin or a beanie or a blanket or a scarf, you can go over to Brianna K over on YouTube, Briana, Brianak. Oh, Jen has it pinned there for us on the TikTok. Briana K is who I follow for making this. She has not released a scarf as of yet. However, she did post on her Facebook group that she is working on a pattern. So, what you need to know about the wheat stitch, guys, you don't necessarily need a pattern to make this scarf, okay? What I would do is I would practice with either a pumpkin or a beanie and get familiar with the stitch itself. But the wheat stitches worked in increments of 2. I chained 220 for this scarf. And as you can see, as we're working this wheat stitch across, I'm skipping one, working into the second stitch. So for every one of these little wheats, it takes 2 of your chains, okay? Or in this case, our stitches. And 220 is basically what I worked up for the scarf to get it to about 65 inches. Now, if you were going to make a smaller scarf, you would just do less of the chains, but make sure it's divisible by 2. And then once I finished that, I added an extra one and that became my turning chain. So very, very easy once you understand how the stitch is comprised. So once again, we're going to skip one, then we're going to go into the next stitch and we're going to do a single crochet. And I'm going under both loops. Okay, and just do a single crochet. Then you can kind of pull this apart. This right here is the stitch that I skipped. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work a modified puff stitch around this single crochet here, but working into this stitch that we skipped. So I wrap my yarn around, I go into that stitch all the way through my scarf out the back, and I grab up a loop. I pull this up nice and tall. So now we have a total of 3 loops on our hook. And we're going to hold right here and we're going to gather some more up. So we yarn over. We need to make this stitch puffy. So we go back down through, again, grab up another loop. Okay, so now this is our starting loop here on the right. 4 additional, we have a total of 5 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this loop underneath the first 4 stitches, and that will leave us with 2 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. So what happens when you work it around that single crochet, it is forcing this modified puff to kind of lean to the side. So this stitch that we're doing right here is the same as this row down here. Then when we get to the end of our scarf, we're going to turn our work. We're going to work back the other direction. When you do that, that is when the second side of your wheat stitch here will form. Okay, so can you kind of visualize how that works? So skip one into the next single crochet, And then again, there's that stitch I'm going to work into. Yarn over all the way through, pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops on our hook. Again, holding, yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop. Now we have 5. Yarn over, pull through the first 4. Now we're back to 2 and yarn over, pull through 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Go back to that stitch that we skipped, yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall, holding, hey, midnight, good morning, welcome in. Yarn over, right back down through, grab up another loop. Now we have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull this one under the first 4 loops, back to 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. This stitch that you skip, after you do a few of these guys, this will become very easily identifiable. Okay, I'm kind of pulling it apart to kind of shed some light on where that stitch is at and where he's kind of tucked in there. But as you're working this along, it's going to become very, very easy for you to see where that stitch is, and you can start to pick up some speed. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. The wheat stitch is worked in a 4-row repeat. You do 2 rows of the wheat stitch. We're working on the first row of the wheat stitch now. And then you work a second row of the wheat stitch. And from there, you work single crochets. We're looking at the back of my work right now. When we look at the front, you can start to see those single crochets. So see how this line of texture is formed right here? That is from working our single crochets in the back loop only. Now, it's a little easier to see if we look at the pumpkin I have in the works, okay? So once again, here is the wheat stitch rows right here. You've got 2. You've got one side here and then one side here. So that's 2 rows of your wheat stitch. Then in between, there's a row of single crochet here, and then you come back with a row of single crochet the other direction that is worked in the back loop. And in this case, I'm using 2 different colors. So when you use the 2 colors, it really stands it apart. However, if you're doing one color yarn like this is a variegated yarn I'm using, but it's a little more subtle in the effect of how those stitches look. But you can see them right here. This is the single crochet in the back loop, giving it that line of texture. Same thing over here. This is where I first started with my chain. I chained a total of 220, and then I did a turning chain of 1, and that's about a 65-inch scarf. Now, once again, guys, you need to chain in increments of 2. Okay, so uh, stop the hee haw. All right. I chained 221. Okay, so I chained 221, and then I worked in the second loop from my hook to make the scarf. So you need to work in increments of 2 is how the wheat stitch is worked. Um, we're doing kind of some stitch talk, guys. So let me catch up on the comments. Hema, good morning. Welcome in from Trinidad. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Marla, good morning. Welcome in. Dog Mama is here. How are you, my friend? Yes, no problem showing the stitch. I just recently learned this stitch, guys. I learned it last week, and we made some wheat stitch. We did some pumpkins on the live. I made a beanie on the live. And now I'm working on a scarf on the live. Tomorrow we're going to finish up the pumpkin. So we'll have lots of pumpkin talk tomorrow as we finish that out. Now, if you missed how I started the pumpkin, you can rewatch that over on my YouTube. My handle on YouTube, friends, is the same as TikTok, Wheeler 8 Acres. When you go to my profile, Kazi, welcome in. When you go to my profile over there, you will see a category that says videos. There's also a category that says shorts, and there is a category that says live. We are live this morning, both on TikTok and on YouTube. So after we finish the live this morning, you'll be able to go back and rewatch the replay. You can also rewatch how we made this pumpkin last week. But I will say, Briana K, friends, is the Queen of the Wheat Stitch. So if you're not following Briana K over on YouTube and you're interested in making the wheat stitch, I highly recommend her channel. Briana K, Briana K on YouTube. She really does great tutorials of how to do the wheat stitch. She has a beanie tutorial. Lou, thank you so much for the heart hands, my friend. Appreciate you. I saw you were popping in here. Where did you say? Did you say Oklahoma? Oklahoma. My mom is traveling this morning, guys. Mom and Papa Wheeler are headed my way from Arizona, and they spent the night last night in Shamrock, Texas. There's a little pizza joint there that they really like, and they had pizza last night. And tonight they're going to stay just outside of Little Rock. And by tomorrow, my mom and dad will be here all the way from Arizona. Lou, I am originally from Arizona. I grew up in Prescott, and that's where my mom spends part of her year is over in Prescott. That's where I grew up as a kid, and she also has a place now. They have a place, a condo in Florida, so they kind of split their time between Arizona and Florida. But a lot of people on the live know my mom, Mama Wheeler. She's not here today because they're traveling, but she will be back. I don't know if she'll be back next week because they're going to leave my house here on Sunday. And I think it takes them 2 days to get to the condo in Florida. I don't think it takes three. I think it takes two, maybe 2 nights and 3 days. So I don't know if we're going to see much of mom this week as well. But I moved from Arizona to Alabama just over 4 years ago, and I live in Northeast Alabama now. Wait. Nicolina Crochet, I was born and raised in Prescott, not there now. So was I, Nicolina. So I was class of 93 from Prescott High School. My brother still lives in Prescott, and my mom lives part of the year still in Prescott, but that's where I grew up, is in Prescott, Arizona. I was born in 75. Not sure if we were like in the same class or anything, but that would be pretty wild if we were. Class of 2005. Oh, you're much younger than me. Much younger than me. Well, that's cool. What a small world, huh? Yeah, I lived in Prescott, Arizona is where I grew up. Now, as an adult, I lived in Peoria. I lived in Peoria, and that's where I live for work. Now, friends, most of you know I am a hobby crocheter. I do work full time, and I actually work remote. I still work in Arizona, even though I live in Alabama. I work in Tempe. So even though I'm clear across the country, I still have a lot of ties to Arizona. I still have a lot of friends in Arizona. It's kind of it was my stomping ground for most of my life. So only recently in Alabama here, but we've been here for little over 4 years now. We moved here in December of 2020, and I do love it here. This is the pattern that I'm working on. Our fabulous mod, Leah, has pinned that for you all. I am working with, I love this yarn. I get this at Hobby Lobby, and this is the colorway Birchwood Cottage. Birchwood Cottage, really beautiful yarn. Works fabulous for the wheat stitch. This wheat stitch pattern, guys, is quite a bit of a yarn eater. To make a beanie and a scarf, it is going to take 3 skeins of this yarn. Okay, so when you make this modified puff, you can kind of see how this is kind of a chunkier stitch as we're doing it. See how it's got a little poof to it? So anyhow, if you're interested in making this, and these, I love this yarn, are 252 yards. So that is about 750 yards. I think it's going to be 500 for the scarf, and about the remaining 250 I should be able to get a beanie out of. I do really like this yarn stitching kitten. It's really nice. Coffee and Chaos said, "How do you make the wheat stitch look so easy? I struggle so much." Well, let's slow it down a little bit. Again, Coffee and Chaos. I'm trying to explain it a little bit as we're working this stitch so you guys can kind of have a visual of how we're doing it. So the thing that you need to know about the wheat stitch is it is worked in increments of 2. So when you do your starting chain, you're going to chain 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 until you get it as long as you want it. For me, that was 220 chains. Then I added one and worked into the second loop for my hook. So you need your stitches to be in even increments, okay? And what I do is I'm working in the next two stitches, okay? So this is the first stitch, this is the second stitch. I'm going to skip this stitch, and into the next here, we're going to do a single crochet. Then I kind of pull this apart so you guys can kind of visualize where I am working, okay? What we have to do is we're going to come back. See this stitch right here that I skipped? We're going to work a modified puff stitch into this stitch. And the way I do that is I wrap my yarn around, I go all the way through, and I grab up a loop. And I pull this up nice and tall. Now, somebody was mentioning their stitches don't look uniform. Here is the tip that I can give you. As I'm working and pulling up my loops, I try to keep them in order on my hook. So this was my starting loop. This is my yarn over. Here's the one we're pulling up. I pull this up nice and tall, but do you see how I keep them in the same order as I work those? Now we're going to hold here, and we need to gather some more loops. We need to make this a puffy stitch, okay? So we wrap our yarn around. We're going to go right back down into that space. Now, as you work that, you're going to get kind of some loops that form here. That is okay. That is typically what happens when you work a puff stitch. Now I'm going to bring up my loop. Now, as I pull this up, once again, I'm trying to keep these stitches in order that I made them. Okay, and I want this to look really nice and uniform. And also, you'll notice I pull this up kind of tall. So I make sure that they're snug against my hook. Then I yarn over, I'm going to pull this loop underneath the first four loops. Now we're down to two loops on our hook. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through two. Nana Juju, good morning. Welcome in. Love the look. Thank you so much. So that is how our wheat stitch looks. So if your stitches are looking um, not uniform or kind of messy, I would look at how you're constructing those stitches. So I'm going to skip this stitch into the next single crochet. Once again, we're going to come back and pick up this stitch that we missed with that puff stitch. Skill said, very good guidance. Thank you. You are very welcome. Friends, I'm not an expert at this, okay? Crochet is my hobby. I have been crocheting for 41 years. So I just try to come, and those that are new to crochet, I kind of try to explain it how it worked when I was first learning stitches, and hopefully you can use some of those pointers in your crocheting. Again, everybody crochets different, and everybody has kind of a different style. So maybe what I'm doing might not work for you. But if you can glean a little something from it, that's all I try to do. So after we've pulled this stitch up nice and tall, we're going to yarn over, go right back down in, and again, pull up our loop. Again, I'm trying to keep these stitches nice and uniform. Pull them up and make sure that they are sitting flush against your work. If you work your stitches and you're not pulling them up nice and tall, what'll happen is these stitches will get too short here, and your stitch will end up looking really scrunched up and tight. Okay, so you want to make sure when you're doing your stitches, you pull them up the same height every single time and get those really nice and uniform, and let that wheat stitch really pop. See how this one looks more scrunched up and not as beautiful? So we'll redo that. The other thing that can happen too is yarn over, go back down in and pull up your loop, and then yarn over, go right back down in. Sometimes if you don't pull this up too tall, if you leave this kind of chilling like this and then you do your yarn over, what'll happen is these don't look as uniform. So people were saying how their stitches don't look as pretty. That is another reason why, because again, this loop now is way taller than everybody else, so it doesn't look as consistent. So just make sure when you're doing it, it does take some practice. But if you pull them up to the main height of your stitches, so go down in, Again, pull that up nice and tall. And as you're doing this, you'll get a feel for where that is. Okay, but you can see I'm kind of keeping my hook parallel to my stitches. This was my starting loop. I'm making these come up as tall as this one. Then we're going to yarn over and go right back down in. Again, pull it up as tall as the others. And sometimes you'll see I'll put my finger here and kind of get those stitches aligned. Then I yarn over, pull through the first 4, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. And that wheat stitch is going to sit kind of to the side. Hey, half hooked, how are you? Let's see. Skill said, I saw you do this a week or 2 ago. I've been thinking about this pattern ever since. The wheat stitch does really it's a showy stitch, isn't it? This is the right side of the work as we look here. So let me pause real quick here, friends, and let me catch up on these comments and just see. CDC Custom, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. I find my puff stitch is either too loose or it gets too tight. Yeah, it's a tension thing for sure, Coffee and Chaos. You just need to practice your technique a little bit and see if you can get it a little more consistent. Just takes a little practice. You'll get there. I promise you will. Carrie said, I wish yarn companies would hire you to make their tutorial videos. I never get confused listening to you. Oh, thank you, Carrie. That is a lovely compliment. Thank you so much for the hand hearts. I appreciate that. Very, very cool. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Hannah said, is this San Francisco? What? What am I missing? Am I lost, Hannah? Hannah's in France this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, in France. I'm not in San Francisco. You know better, girl. Hey, Miss Maggie, welcome in. Good morning, my friend. Stitch and Kitten said, turning out so pretty. Thank you so much. Sacramento. No, 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 no. Oh, are you asking about the yarn? This is not Sacramento. Sacramento, friends, is a yarn color also by I Love This Yarn. That is what Hannah is referring to. She's speaking in code to this morning. I am not using Sacramento. I am using I Love This Yarn, and the colorway is Birchwood Cottage. Birchwood Cottage. Sacramento is another beautiful yarn. I do have some of that on order. Our friend Maggie is using that yarn. If you want to see Maggie working with Sacramento, if somebody could pin Miss Maggie for us, she's working with the Sacramento color and is a fabulous crocheter. If you all are looking for some inspiration, I highly recommend the unicorn. She's fabulous. There she is. So give her a little look see on her account if you wish. Birchwood's really pretty though for a scarf. I make a beanie too that matches this. Okay. And this morning, friends, we're working with the wheat stitch. The wheat stitch is what we're doing. I'm making a scarf. Tony Ann, good morning. Welcome in. The way that the wheat stitch works is it's worked in 4 groupings of stitches. It's a repeat of 4 rows, I guess I should say. You have your single crochet, you have your back loop single crochet, then you have your 2 rows of wheat stitch, then we're back repeating the 2 rows of single crochet. Now when we do the single crochet in the back loop, that is what is giving it this line of texture on the front of my work. Right now we are working on the back of our project, so we're working on the back, and we're working with our first half of the wheat stitch. So right here is the first half. Then we will turn our work when we get to the other side, and we're going to go back the other direction. And that is where your second one will come into play. Firefly said, uh, wait, did you change your name? You did. I recognize your picture. I have to keep up with the name changes and the pictures. Y'all are trying to keep Miss Wheeler over here on her toes. Well, good morning, Miss Sparky. Welcome in. I like the new handle, Firefly. I like that a lot. So glad you're here this morning. The color is called Birchwood Cottage. Is the color that I'm using, Nikki. Birchwood. Excuse me, Birchwood Cottage. So when the pumpkin calls for 9 wheats, does that mean 9 sets? Yeah, Kayla. So when I'm doing my pumpkin, this is the exact same pattern, guys, but we're making a pumpkin instead. We're going to work on this tomorrow. So how I count it, I count this little section here as a wheat stitch grouping. So if we go back to our pattern for the pumpkin, where I took my little cheat sheet notes, forgive my chicken scratch here, friends. For the pumpkin, for the small, you do 25 row, or excuse me, I chained 25, which is 9 wheats. So as I count that, it's actually 36 rows because it's a 4-row repeat, but I just count my wheat stitches. So 9 times 4 is 36, but I count this as a wheat stitch row. Does that make sense? Yes, Birchwood Cottage is the color of the yarn. Birchwood Cottage. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby, and the colorway is Birchwood Cottage. That is what the scarf is. Okay, perfect, Kayla. Glad we got that cleared up. Guys, we're going to work on the pumpkin tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow, 7:30 Central Time to 9:30 Central Time, we'll be working on finishing this pumpkin. We started this pumpkin last week on the live, so we're going to work on it some more, and we're going to do the pumpkin stuffing and all that stuff. Okay, chain one, or excuse me, skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to come back. We're going to pick up this stitch that we missed. So we're going to and go right back down in. Hey, Amanda, good morning. Pam said it's sale week at Hobby Lobby too. Ruh-roh, ruh-roh. Yeah, but this is also, I love this yarn, guys. If you are wanting, this is burnt pumpkin is the color. This variegated that I'm using here is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. Autumn stripe. Autumn stripe. Okay, and oh, I did that wrong. Hang on. Rewind. Let me start from the beginning here with this stitch. You can always rewatch this over on my YouTube, Amanda. So if you want to go back and revisit, my handle over there is Wheeler 8 Acres. Just make sure you go to the tab that says live. We're live this morning, both on both TikTok and on YouTube. There's a lot of people watching over on YouTube on their full screen, on their TVs. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to work this stitch that we skipped with the wheat stitch. Yarn over, right back down into that stitch that we skipped all the way through, grab up a loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall, and we're going to hold. Now, once again, yarn over, right back down in, and pull up nice and tall. So now we have 5 loops on our hook. This right here is our starting loop, and we've added an additional 4 loops. Now we're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this yarn through the first 4 loops on my hook. That will give us a remainder of 2 loops, yarn over, pull through those last 2. So the wheat stitch is like a modified puff stitch, is how I best explain it. Skip one into the next, single crochet. This is that stitch that I skipped. We're going to work the puff stitch into this. So yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop, pull it up nice and tall. You want it to be the height of our other stitches here. Yarn over, go right back down into that same stitch and pull up another loop. So now we have our starting loop, an additional 4, total of 5 here across our hook. Yarn over, pull this one under the first 4, back to 2, and yarn over and pull through those last 2. Bad Bishes, welcome in. Nice to have you here this morning. Welcome in, friends. I hope everybody's having a fabulous week. It is the first day of my vacation, so I'm very excited about that. I got to go after the live here, and I'm going to go over to our town that's next to us called Gadsden. I'm going to do some blood work today and get that out of the way. Then I'm going to come home and kind of work on getting the house finished straightening up. My mom is going to be here tomorrow, you guys, tomorrow afternoon. So I don't do things like mop the floor or dust or any of that until the day that they're arriving, because I don't know if your all's house is like mine, but with having Diesel and the dogs, It is Miss Cassie asked what size hook I'm using. I'm using an I9, a 5.5 millimeter. With Diesel in and out, he brings in so much dust with him. I swear, if I swept and mopped today, I'd have to turn around and do it tomorrow. I'm so lazy with the housework. I'd rather just wait till tomorrow, skip one. But I'm really excited to see my mom. I'm really, really excited. So they'll be here Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and then she'll leave out Sunday morning. So we'll have a few days to visit. Friday morning is going to be another busy morning for me, even though my mom's here. I've got chiropractor at 7:15, and then I have to go to the eye doctor and pick up my glasses. And then we're going to go to the Mennonite market and pick up some. I really want to get some fresh zucchini. So we can either do grilled zucchini or I'll do it in the oven, but I like to do that as a side. And my mom likes going over to the Mennonite market. They'll probably get some nice produce uh, for them to take down to Florida with them also. The market will have a lot of good produce. And oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys have uh, Mennonite or Amish markets by you, but our little Mennonite market, I say it's like a farm stand, y'all. It's like a farm stand. It's in Section, Alabama here, but they have baked goods too. And oh my gosh, they have these cinnamon rolls that are like, they're, oh, I know I shouldn't be eating sweets and that kind of junk food, but like when my mom is here, y'all, it's okay to splurge, right? It's okay to like have a little fun and uh-oh, puzzle piece. Hang on, y'all. Uh-oh, unable to verify. Let's try again. Okay, got it that time. I'm special this morning. It took me twice to get the puzzle. Oh well. Let me change this thing up while I'm in here. Let's do some chili peppers. I'm not feeling very creative today. Yeah, their baked goods are so good. And last time my mom was here, we went to the Mennonite market. We did the live first. And remember, we made the stitch markers with my mom and dad while they were here. And Papa Wheeler played the ukulele. A lot of you guys were here for that live. And so we were kind of late getting to the Mennonite market. And if you're not there first thing, friends, you do not get the cinnamon rolls if you're not there when they open. So Friday, my eye exam or my eye doctor, they said it would take like 10 minutes for me to get my glasses picked up. So that appointment is at 8. I figure, and their chiropractor is right next to the eye place. So I figure I'll go get my chiropractor out of the way, go pick up my glasses. By that time, Papa Wheeler should be up and moving around. Come home, scoop up mom and dad, and then go up to they open at 9. So I think it'll work out perfect. We could get there by like 9:30 if everything goes according to plan on Friday. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then Friday, I want to go to the 99-cent store, or I guess it's the dollar 25 store now, whatever it is. And I need to get some floral picks for my pumpkin trio that I made. And I'm hoping they have some that are like in fall, like autumn leaves, acorns, pine cones, that kind of thing. If they don't, then we're going to go over to Albertville to the Hobby Lobby on Friday after we go to the Mennonite market. So that's kind of what I've got on deck for when the parents are here. And then Saturday, I don't know what we're going to do Saturday, if anything. Honestly, guys, I just love to sit and visit with my mom. Like she'll do her embroidery or if she's got a crochet thing she's working on, and we'll just sit here and visit. Like we don't even have to like go anywhere or do anything. We just like to hang out, It's not so it's about spending quality time together, I guess. And so I look forward to them being here. Yes, Karina, when I'm at the dollar store, I'll check out the dollar yarn. I absolutely will do that. I will of course they get Premier in there sometimes at mine. Let's see. Yeah, their baked goods are so good, Mom 22, right? Um I live 45 minutes away from Lancaster. Lancaster has a lot of Amish in that area, right, Teresa? That's like one of the main hubs of Amish, if I'm not mistaken. We have one here in Indiana. We live in Amish country. Nice, Amanda. Yeah, and I got honey the last time I was at the Amish uh, store. They had jars of honey, and it is so so good. Really good honey. Of course, it's local. You know, they have the hives and everything right there. A few places in Sarasota. Oh, awesome, awesome. Let's see. I love the wheat stitch too, Cece. It works up really, really pretty. Cece, yours had red heart yarn at the 99-cent store? Wow. I'm always gonna call it the 99-cent store, you guys. Back in the day, there was a auto parts store. It was called Checker Auto Parts, and they got bought up by O'Reilly, but to this day, I still call it Checkers. And my husband's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, whatever that new name is. This is the wheat stitch, guys. This is what we're working on this morning. We're making a scarf, okay? Making a scarf. They only had 2 skeins left. Oh, I'll definitely have to check that. Well, it's on our list to do. Kimberly reached level 16. Congratulations, Kimberly. Thank you all so much for all of the hearts this morning, all the heart me's and whatnot. We are going to do a sub givey for the month of September. This will also include over on YouTube. YouTube, you have the option to subscribe. And then the level above that is um, if you become a member, it's $2.99 a month over on YouTube. So we include the YouTube members along with the TikTok subscribers for the celebration giveaway. And we're going to do that towards the end of the month. And anyhow, we're still kind of figuring out what's going on with the TikTok subscriptions over here. But friends, let me say this: spoke a lot about this yesterday and kind of gave my feelings if you missed it. But please do not the with the increase in cost. Please do not feel obligated to continue to subscribe and pay the higher price. Okay, I feel like it's really high. And I want you all to spend money on yarn, go get an ice cream for the kid, put food on the table, pay the electric bill. I don't want it to get all political in here right now, but my feeling is do not continue to subscribe if it puts a financial burden on you and your family. Go spend that money elsewhere. Take care of your family. Go buy some yarn. Go enjoy it. I work full time. This is not a job for me to be here on TikTok. I know there are people who depend on it. And so everybody has their own opinion. But for me personally, here, guys, if you do not feel the need to continue with your TikTok subscription, I completely understand and I agree. Okay. It's really excessive, in my opinion. And if you want, you can continue to subscribe. We still will have the celebration that we do for the YouTube as well. It's $2.99 to follow over on YT. Okay. So a lot of people have messaged me that they're migrating over to YT and becoming a member over there. They still want to show a little support to me and what I do here and coming on live. And I do appreciate all of that. Okay. I really do. Some people extended out their little plan so that they're at the lower price for longer. But if you want to go over and change it over to YouTube, you're welcome to do that. I include both in the little celebration. This month, it's $50 gift card for Amazon. Okay, that's what we're going to do this month. Again, do not feel obligated to keep doing that. Okay, does that help answer a question? Again, I don't want this to be like a political up for debate kind of thing, but that is where I'm weighing in on this. Okay. I do appreciate all the support, and I'm not trying to say that I don't, but it is a lot, and I don't want to like keep rehashing it, but that is where I stand. So if you want to do the 2.99 over on YT, if you want to drop completely, there's no judgment. I love you each and all equally. Friends, I want this to be a fun place. Come Bring your crochet, bring your coffee, hang out, chat with friends, let me crochet. Let's look at all of the different fun stitches and yarns and just hang out and have a good time. That is why I do this every day. All right. It's not for the other things. So please just come and have fun. Do not feel obligated and hang out and enjoy. All right. That is all I ask. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate all of the support. Naughty Wendy, I have no clue. I really have no idea the percentages or any of that. Leah said, "From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being kind, gracious, and mature about this." Indeed, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Come hang out, enjoy, bring your coffee, bring your drink, bring your beverage, have fun, watch on YouTube, have chats with our friends. Love crochet, love yarn, love the fiber arts, and seriously, just really make this a fun, positive place. That is all I ask. Okay, so there's my 2 cents. I've said it for 2 days now. Hopefully everybody understands and is cool. All right. This is where I joined my yarn here, friends. I'll come back and weave this in. If you're wondering why there's some tails hanging out the back, okay, that is what is happening there. Kate said, I listen while I'm at work. There you go. There you go. Perfect, Kate. I love it. I love it. Tomorrow we're going to be working on the pumpkin. Okay, so if you're just joining on, we're working on the wheat stitch again this week. We worked on it last week. We started this pumpkin, and we're going to be finishing this up tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow at 7:30 Central Time. I am on vacation this week. My mom is going to be here on Thursday. I'm really, really excited. I do have some cleaning to do. Kayla said I'm cleaning and listening. That's gonna be me too, Kayla. I'm gonna be listening to some I might listen to my book, and I've got to do some dusting and cleaning, and all of those things as I get ready for my mom to be here. I've got some laundry in the washing machine. It's just going to be kind of a chill kind of week for me. Kazi said, I love the vibe in your channel, April. Very friendly and encouraging to new things. Thank you, Kazi. I appreciate that comment. I, you know, Guys, if it wasn't for all of you being here hanging out with me, I'd be here on my couch crocheting by myself. Okay. So I appreciate each and every one of you. It's not just about me here, it's about all of you that come and participate and share your support and chat with friends and share your projects you're doing and all of the things, right? It's about all of us. And it makes it a really fun place. Also, I would like to point out how amazing our moderators are, our little group who are pinning comments. They make this a fun place and they keep it a safe environment. How about a round of applause for our moderators? Can we get some mod love in the house? Uh, they do amazing. Guys, they do this out of the kindness of their hearts. They show up, they help to answer questions, and they make it fabulous for all of us. So thank you, moderators. I appreciate y'all so much, more than you probably even realize. You make this a very fun thing. So very cool. We are working on the wheat stitch this morning, friends. If you're just coming on, I am working on a scarf, and the wheat stitch does take some time. As you can see, we've been crocheting on the same row all morning. I am doing a 65-inch long scarf. And so it is kind of a lengthy process that it takes. Um, but somebody asked earlier how long I thought it would take to make the scarf. This is what the front side looks like. I haven't really timed it. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take me, but that is how the scarf is looking. The wheat stitch has really, really cool texture. If you are first experiencing the wheat stitch here, I will tell you, Briana K over on YouTube is the queen of the wheat stitch. She makes the wheat stitch blanket. She has a wheat stitch beanie. She has two different versions. She has one that goes vertical and one that goes horizontal. She also has a sweater scarf combo that you can make. And to me, she has a tutorial just how to make the wheat stitch. So I took what I learned from all of her videos and I am making a scarf. Now, I will tell you the wheat stitch is worked in increments of 2. And so as long as you chain an even amount, you can make the wheat stitch. So I chained 220 chains to make this wheat stitch. Okay, 220. Then I added one as a turning chain and I worked from the second chain from my hook. That turning chain did not count as a stitch. So I stayed with an even 220 stitches. So make sure your stitch count is an even number. Okay, guys? Now, as we are working the wheat stitch across, what I'm doing is I am skipping a stitch into the next stitch here. I am working a single crochet. Then what we do is we come back and we pick up this stitch right here that I skipped. And we're going to work a modified puff stitch. So do you see how these stitches are leaning sideways and they're kind of puffy? That is the stitch that we're going to work right now. So figure out where that stitch is that you skipped. For me, it's right here. Yarn over. We're going to go down into that stitch all the way through, grab up a loop, and I'm going to pull this up nice and tall. We want this to be as tall as our other stitches here. So what I mean by that, friends, see how this loop was my starting loop here? I kind of hold my hook horizontal to my work as I'm doing this. I make sure these new loops are at the same height as the other. Okay, so what I don't want is for this to be like this, where these stitches are shorter. You have to pull them up and kind of go like that to get them aligned. Okay, yarn over, right back down in. We need to grab up another loop. Again, pull this up nice and tall. So you can kind of see how I gauge what height I'm going to make that stitch. Yarn over, I pull this loop through the first 4 loops on my hook. Now we're back to 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now pull this apart. You can kind of see this is where the stitches I'm going to work into. Yarn over all the way through. TikTok just told me you're live. All right, how about that, Leah? Johnny on the spot there with the announcement, right? Sweet Grace said that's a great tip for that stitch. Thank you, Sweet Grace. I appreciate that. Welcome in, my friend. I didn't see you pop in earlier. So here we are, pull these up nice and tall. Once again, we have 5 loops on our hook. So we have our starting loop here on the right, an additional 4, total of 5. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this stitch underneath the first 4 loops on my hook. That will leave us with 2 loops and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. Tracy, thank you so much for the heart me and becoming the 146th member of the fan club. That's okay, Katana. Katana said her phone closed out the app. That's okay. I'm going to do it a bunch more times, Katana. Do not worry. We are here for you, okay? We're going to skip the first stitch into the next one, single crochet. I go under both loops and do my single crochet. Okay. Now, once again, we're going to work into this stitch that we skipped right here. We're going to yarn over, go all the way through out the back and grab up a loop. Again, we need to pull this up nice and tall. The way that I figure out how tall to make this, guys, when I'm working this, I kind of put my hook along the side of my work horizontal, okay? And I make sure this is the loop that was on my hook originally. I pull these up kind of nice and tall. If you don't, what'll happen is your hook will be more like this. These stitches are shorter than the top one here. Okay, so pull up tall and get that hook kind of laying sideways on your work. That is how I gauge it. Okay, now I need to do another yarn over. We need to fatten up this stitch a little bit. So yarn over, right back down in, and pull up another loop. Again, pull this up nice and tall. You want this to sit really nice and uniform on your hook and make it look even with your stitches. So now we have a total of 5 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this one underneath the first 4 loops. Now we're back to 2 stitches on our hook. Yarn over, pull through those last 2 stitches. Thank you so much for the follow this morning. Friends, if you are new to my channel here, my name is April, okay? And I'm a hobby crocheter. I come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7:30 Central Time, and I stay on until about 9:30. I do work full time, and I just like to crochet and chat with my friends, but we do a lot of stitch talk here. When I am talking about stitches, I apologize. I do miss some of the comments. So if I missed your comment, feel free to ask. Again, we do have a fabulous group of moderators who will help to answer the questions as well. But this morning we are working on a wheat stitch scarf, and I'm kind of going over how the wheat stitch is constructed. Coloring Zone asked, do you crochet under the 2 loops or just the skipped space? So, Coloring Zone, what I'm doing is I am, if we turn our work kind of to the side here, these 2 stitches right here are what is going to work our wheat stitch. I skip the first one. Into the next stitch right here, I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay, so I put my hook under both loops, and then I work my single crochet. So I pull up my loop, and then I yarn over and pull through both of those. Okay, so you can see this is the single we just made. This stitch right here, I have 2 loops of the stitch that we skipped. I'm working under both of those loops. Mello, welcome in. Glad to have you here this morning, my friend. Okay, so the way we work this wheat stitch is we yarn over. I'm going to go under both of those loops. See how I turn them sideways there and you can see them? Work under both of those. Yarn over. So I go underneath those loops and I go all the way through my work and grab up a loop. So that is I'm working into that skipped stitch that I missed. Okay, pull up this stitch nice and tall. Then I yarn over. I'm going to go right back down into that space. See that space right there? All the way through and grab up another loop. Again, pull this up nice and tall. You want these stitches to kind of iron and flatten themselves out on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 4. So take this loop and I'm going to pull it under the first 4 loops. And then I leave this one behind. So now we're back to 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through those last 2. This is like a modified puff stitch. When we work it, because we're working it around that single crochet, what is happening is it's causing this puff stitch to lean sideways. And that's what's giving it that really, really cool texture of it going sideways like that. Okay. As we work the next row, we're going to come back the other direction. So this row that I'm working right here of the wheat stitch is the same as this row down here. Once we turn, we're going to come back and we're going to work this little guy on top of this one. Okay. Coloring Zone says, thank you so much. You've taught me so much, including reading charts. You are very welcome, Coloring Zone. I'm glad you are learning here. This is the reason why I do this, my friends, is to just share the love of crochet and be able to spend time with each of you in the morning. So very, very cool. That makes my day. This yarn makes it look like fall leaves, doesn't it? It has that harvest feel. To me, it almost feels like have you ever gone for like Halloween and where they have like the cornfield maze? And they have like the corn stalks that are dry, and some of them have had water on them, and so they have kind of like that mildew feel to it. I know that doesn't sound very appetizing, but that's what this yarn reminds me of. It reminds me of the dried corn stalks in fall, or my pasture in the fall here in Alabama. A lot of the tall grasses will start to make their transition for winter, and they turn into this really pretty like goldish color. But you've also got those grays in there also, and then with that little bit of white, you get a little dew on the pasture. Oh, that's what this yarn feels like to me. But this yarn, for those that are wondering, is called I Love This Yarn. And the colorway is Birchwood Cottage. Birchwood Cottage. Lisa Love said, I love the wheat stitch, making a hat with it. That has been the other thing I've been making a lot of, Lisa, is the hat. And then we've also been making pumpkins, guys. Tomorrow we're going to finish our pumpkin. We started this pumpkin last week on the live. That is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. It's another day of wheat stitch. We're going to finish up the pumpkin. So it should be a fun day tomorrow as well. Amanda, welcome in. Good morning, my friend. Hope you're having a great day. Briana K is the queen of the wheat stitch, guys. You can find her on YouTube. She has lots of different patterns, but that is who I learned the wheat stitch from. So I'm here to show the wheat stitch, get you guys excited. Feel free to check out Briana K. She is a great teacher on YT. Her beanies are fabulous. Her pumpkins are fabulous. She has, somebody mentioned earlier, she has a chevron blanket that is a wheat stitch, and I think that looks really pretty. Now, one thing I will mention, friends, the wheat stitch is a yarn eater. Okay, this scarf I'm making is about 65 inches long. When you work the wheat stitch, because it has these puff stitches on it, it gobbles it up. And I am going to need 2 full skeins of this yarn to make this scarf that I'm working on this morning. I have already used 1 skein completely. It got me this much right here, about 3 inches. Now, somebody asked me how wide I'm going to make this scarf. Um, Again, 3 inches was about what I got out of the first skein. I'm going to do another skein, so I'm going to end up with or excuse me, 6 inches wide and 2 skeins of yarn. Okay. So this is what the right side of the work looks like. We're going to have these really nice, cool rows of texture. I'm actually working the back of the stitch this morning. Nikki, welcome in. Good morning, friend. How are you? Kelly said, I want to try the wheat stitch chevron so badly. Kelly, thank you so much for sharing that reel with me. I really enjoyed it. I loved the colors that Briana K used for that wheat stitch. Really pretty. Really, really pretty. Kimberly said, I'm going to make Briana K's horizontal wheat beanie. That is on my list also. One of our friends made it and shared it on the Discord already. So if you guys are on Discord, you can look at the finished projects, and there are some wheat stitch projects going in there as well. If you want to check them out, what everybody is making with the wheat stitch. Of course, the pumpkin is probably the most popular pattern, I think, right now. Nikki, thank you so much for the Go Populars, my friend. Appreciate you. Um, 4 daughters, are you working on a hat or are you working on a pumpkin? We're going to work on the pumpkin tomorrow, friends. It's going to be a fun day again tomorrow. I'm officially on vacation. But with that being said, I do have a lot of stuff I've got to get accomplished over the next couple days before my mom gets here. Um, Wheat stitch wheelchair blanket coming soon. You know, I don't know, Coloring Zone. Um, y'all know Wheeler's a little cheap, a little frugal. This yarn is a big yarn eater. And although the wheelchair blanket sounds appealing in the wheat stitch, I think it's going to take a long time to do. And I think it's going to take a lot of yarn. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do if I'm going to make a wheelchair wheat stitch. Again, the idea sounds appealing, but even working this scarf, like I've been working on this scarf for a while, guys. It's not working up as fast versus like even the study of snow. You guys want to see how far I am on that pattern, the one we were working on yesterday? Y'all want to see where we're at? I was thinking you always seem to find a way to make the blanket. I know, right? Coloring Zone. But here's the thing, Coloring Zone. It is worked an even amount of stitches. So, question is, could you mix this with other stitches and have like a stitch sampler where the entire blanket isn't the wheat stitch, but it's a combination of stitches? Now that I could get behind. That I could get excited about. So, lots of things noodling around always in Wheeler's head. You never know what I'm going to come up with. I do think the wheat stitch is a beautiful stitch. I don't have any desire to make it as a full blanket. However, I do think the wheat stitch could be sneaking into some of maybe my stitch sampler work. Yes, it is a huge yarn eater, Nikki, right? It's a big yarn eater. So, could I kind of sneak it in here and there? I think I probably could. I'm noodling on that. Oh, I got all your wheels are spinning now, friends. What pattern could I sneak it in with? Where would it look good? How would it look good? I don't know. I'm thinking. Um, Maybe you can modify it with the other stitches, right, Marcia? That's a good idea too. It would make a nice border for a wheelchair, right? Yeah, I like how you guys are thinking this morning. Anyhow, do you want to pause real quick and look at my other blanket? I'll show you where I left off this morning. I worked on it a couple hours this morning. I worked on it last night also. So here we go. This is where we're at with the fall blanket. I made it to the yellow color now. Again, this is the first time doing the study of snow in the rectangle shape, but I didn't know if I was gonna love the orange, you guys. But oh my gosh, the orange, right? Like, are you feeling it? I'm kind of feeling it. Look how pretty the yellow is working up too. I like it. I really like it. Look at the little puff stitches. Aren't they cute? This is a 3-weight yarn we're using, guys. And for this project, I'm also using an I-9 hook, same hook I'm using today. But really, really cool. Really cool. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to bump y'all. Let me stop you from shaking. So anyhow, that is where I'm at with the blanket we worked on yesterday. Kind of cool. Yeah, I didn't know if I was gonna like the orange, but I really do like the orange. I know, Leah, I bumped your head. Sorry. Sorry, friends. I didn't mean to shake you and rattle you and roll you this morning. uh, I'm hoping to get done with this end of this row here before I have to get off so I can go to my appointment. Let's see. Y'all flew up a whole bunch of comments there. Viv, welcome in. Good morning. Mrs. Melody is here. Welcome. Nina said, very pretty. Thank you so much. Fire vibe. Yeah, sweet, isn't it? It kind of feels like fall too, though, right? Yeah, I'm really liking the rectangle shape. It's giving go big orange. uh, the great pumpkin, right? Thank you, friends. You all are so sweet. uh, my last brain cell just went flying out my ear. I'm sorry I gave you guys all a little rattle. That's what happens when I get these projects in my lap and I start flapping my arms. I really love this lighter color of the yarn that I'm getting into right now. It looks so cool. It really feels like corn. I'm working on a wheat stitch scarf this morning, friends. I'm working on a wheat stitch scarf. So, really, really pretty stitch. You have such a soothing voice. Unfortunately, I don't have any yarn in front of me, but a wheat stitch is next on my list. I can't wait to start. Well, thank you so much, Kay Elizabeth. I appreciate you being here. If you are new to my channel, my name is April, and I'm a hobby crocheter. I do work full time. I'm on vacation this week, so I do come on very early in the morning. I come on at 7:30 Central Time, and I stay on until 9:30, and I just have my coffee and show everybody the little projects I'm working on. And we do some stitch talk. I kind of talk through these stitches and explain how to do them. I am live this morning, both on TikTok and on YouTube. My handle on YouTube is Wheeler 8 Acres. We have friends watching over there as well. As a matter of fact, Marsha on YouTube just said, I made mittens in the wheat stitch, but I left the fingers and thumbs open. That would be cool as little gloves, I think, the wheat stitch. So many possibilities with this stitch. So I have a little bit left here for the scarf, and then I'm going to be hopping off today. I do have an appointment. I have to go about an hour away to get blood work done, just routine labs. I have a rheumatoid arthritis, and I go every 6 months to the doctor, and I have to get those labs done today. So I am going to be hopping off. I'm going to finish out this little row of stitches here, and then we're going to be calling it for the day. So let's go ahead and talk about the wheat stitch as we do this, and finish out this row before I go and hop in the car and go on a little road trip. So the wheat stitch is worked across two stitches. So if we look at my work, I'm going to be working these next two stitches here. And the way that we do that is we're going to skip a stitch and I'm going to work a single crochet into this next stitch here. Uh, Pause for a moment. Karina said, everyone dislikes the crisscross stitches on the study of snow. Could you swap it there? I could possibly swap it there, but I don't know that it would work well in that area. Part of the reason why the study of snow is so beautiful is because the stitch work in this section is very delicate. We're looking at it upside down. Here, let me pull this up. The stitches through here are very light and airy. And this is the crisscross that Karina is mentioning right here, replacing this with the wheat stitch. My feeling is if I was to replace it on this, because a lot of people don't like the crisscross, I think it would make it feel too heavy and dense in this area. But where you possibly could substitute the wheat stitch is where you do this row of puff stitches here. So you work these puff stitches, you do a puff stitch and then you skip a stitch. You could substitute the wheat stitch along this pattern where these other puff stitches are. They would sit sideways. Karina, can you envision that? It would make it too bulky to replace that crisscross. However, it would not make it too bulky right here. It would be basically the same, but those stitches would sit sideways. I think that would be really, really pretty in that. So you could substitute that stitch there as well. Um, so let's talk about these wheat stitches for those friends that are just hopping on and want to know how to make the wheat stitch. So once again, we're going to be working in the next two stitches. So these two stitches right here, 1 and 2, we're going to skip the first one and we're going to work into the next stitch with a single crochet. Sweet, thank you so much for following, my friend. I appreciate you being here this morning. Welcome into the channel. We have a fabulous group of friends here. I know you'll love it here. So I'm glad that you felt the need to hit that follow button. Thank you so much. Okay, after we do our single crochet, we're then going to come back and we're going to work this stitch right here that we skipped. And we're going to work this with a modified puff stitch. So the puff stitch normally sits upright like this. This is a puff stitch right here. See how it sits upright? This one leans to the side. And the reason it leans to the side is because of how we did this single crochet right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to work that modified puff stitch into this stitch that we skipped. The way that I do this is I yarn over. Now I'm going to go under both these loops. If I turn it sideways, you can see these loops here. I'm going to work into that little space right there. So I yarn over, I put my hook through that space, and I go all the way out the back and grab up a loop. Now I have to pull this stitch up nice and tall. So when you first pull it through, can you see how my hook like naturally wants to go up in the air like this? These stitches are not as tall as this one up here. So what we want to do is I pull this yarn up tall and I make it so that my hook sits horizontal along the edge of my blanket to kind of give you an idea of how tall we make this stitch. So this was our starting loop here. We need this little guy to be nice and tall, the same height as the other. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to hold this stitch and we're going to make him a little bulkier. Okay, so we yarn over again And I'm going to go right back down into that same space once again, all the way through, and I grab up another loop. Once again, pull this up nice and tall. Do you see how those stitches kind of expand out? And that kind of gives you an idea of how tall you need to make them. As you're doing this, it's very important that you keep the height the same for every stitch you make. That will help with your stitch consistency. So I kind of do it the same every single time, and I kind of use that as my gauge. I don't physically think about that as I'm doing my stitches, guys, but that is kind of how I arrive at that. Okay. So now we have 5 loops on our hook. We have our starting loop here on the right. We've added 4 more loops for a total of 5. We yarn over. I'm going to pull this loop underneath the first 4 loops on our hook. And that will leave us with 2 left on our hook. Now I yarn over and we're going to pull this one through the remaining 2 stitches. So when we do that, we work this right here. See this little guy right here? That is the single crochet we made. So we forced this puff stitch to lean back. And yes, I absolutely want to sing that song to y'all. Lean back, right? That's what we're creating this stitch to do. Okay, so once again, here we go into the next 2 stitches. We're going to skip one. Into the next, we're going to single crochet. Now we have to come back. We're going to pick up this stitch that we skipped right here. Yarn over, go right back down in, all the way through, grab up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. Once again, as tall as our other stitches here. And we're going to hold. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up that another loop. Now we have 5 loops on our hook. Again, pull them up. Don't be afraid to pull on that work and get that up really nice and tall. Okay, we have 5 loops here. Yarn over, pull this one under the first 4. Now we're down to 2. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. So again, we've got him leaning. Lean back. Mm-hmm. 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 What do you think about making this stitch as an edging for a cardigan? Ooh, that would be kind of cool, right? That would look neat, I think, Red Lady. Nina Renee says you're funny. I don't know. I just am me. I'm kind of a dork. I'm kind of a crochet dork, but I do love myself in all of my dorkiness. And Sabrina says, now that song's going to be in my head all day. You're welcome. I'm sorry. Skip one. It's kind of a catchy song, but whenever I do these leaning stitches, that's what I'm thinking in my brain. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we've got to make that puff stitch. So once again, here is that stitch we skipped. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up that loop, pull it up nice and tall. Yarn over, right back down in, pull it up nice and tall. Now we have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all the first 4 stitches. That leaves us with 2. And yarn over, pull through the last 2. Sweet ask, what is the name of that song? Girl, I don't know. I don't know who sings it. I don't Somebody's here is a wealth of knowledge. Where's Gen X Purple Heart? She usually knows all the songs. So I'm calling her out. I don't even know if Gen X is here right now, but she usually knows who she'll probably know who the lean back song is. So skip one into the next, single crochet. You missed it. I was singing the lean back song, Gen X. Lean back, lean back. Because we're doing leaning stitches. So of course I'm singing the lean back song. I think Leah knows the song. It's just called Lean Back. There you go. It's just called Lean Back. uh, yeah, it'll be on my head now too. Yeah, it's a rap song, Lenina. It's a rap song. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Jen, you've never heard of it? Wait, what? Single crochet. Now we've got to come back and pick up the stitch that we missed. There you go. Humble heart for the win. Nice, nice. Kelly knew it too. All right, all right, all right. Wheeler is hip. Oh, coloring zone. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. I like to think I'm a cool chick, but, some people come in here, they're probably in their 20s, and they're like, "This 50-year-old lady, what is she doing?" It's okay. It's okay. I'm here to crochet and entertain, so, whatever. Skip one, into the next, single crochet, and now we're gonna pick up this stitch that we missed. So once again, yarn over into that stitch that we missed all the way through, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull it up nice and tall, yarn over, right back down in, pull up that loop, again, pull it up nice and tall, and yarn over. We're going to pull this one through the first 4 loops. That leaves us 2 on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. There is our little wheat stitch. Uh, okay, thank you so much for the paper crane. That was pretty. Paloma says, "I'm not that cool. I'm an old lady." Paloma, I think you're probably a pretty cool chick. I think you are. Hopefully, people don't get offended when I call people chicks. I personally am a chick because that's what makes me hip and cool is being a chick, right? Rita said, "I'm in the broken hip group," right? A lot of us are there too, Karina. Uh, Karina says, "I'm with Kelly. Kelly, I'm not convinced April didn't work in radio in one of her lives." Yeah, probably. I probably could have. Okay, skip one into the next single crochet. Come back, pick up that stitch that I missed with a modified puff stitch. Yarn over all the way through. Grab up that loop. Again, pull them up nice and tall, holding that stitch. Yarn over, right back down in. Sweet, go ahead with your question. I am ready. I am ready. Ask away, my friend. Hopefully I have an answer. I'm not an expert, so sometimes I don't have all the answers, but somebody here will. Vicky H, have a great day. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow as we head off into the weekend. Tomorrow, friends, we're going to be working on the wheat stitch pumpkin. We started him last week on the live. We're going to be finishing him up. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow. So everybody come on back by tomorrow, say hello, and we'll work some more on the wheat stitch. And the yarn that I'm using, friends, if you're asking about the yarn, um, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. And we have the colorway Birchwood Cottage. And look at those colors. Isn't that pretty? Really pretty yarn. I'm a Gen X gal myself. I am a Gen Xer myself. Although I have learned other things from other generations as well. And I do have friends that are in other generations. And like my friend, that does, I think Rachel's not a Gen Xer, my friend Rachel. She's younger than I am. And man, I aspire to be like her. She's an amazing friend. And I've learned a lot from her. I've also learned a lot from the older generation as well, like my mom, Mama Wheeler. She was born in the 50s, and boy, oh boy, have I learned a lot of stuff from my mom and my grandma and all those. I often think I was born in the wrong generation. Oh, yeah, Rachel A is a millennial. See, there you go. Look at that. A millennial and a Gen Xer can be friends. How about that, my friends? Did you even think that was possible? It is possible because you know why? We share one thing that is the glue that holds all of us generations together. And that, my friends, is crochet. I just gave myself goosebumps. It has no boundaries. It has no countries. It has crochet is everywhere. Some of the best crocheters I watch are overseas. It is a fact. It is a fact. Crochet knows no bounds. Same with all the fiber arts, and that is what is bonds us all together here. All the Gen Xers, all the millennials, all the baby boomers, everybody yet to come. It is our job as Xers, and just like my parents or my mom taught me to pass these skills down. Crochet cannot be done by a machine. You have to learn from a video, from a friend, from family, all those things. So that is what is the little magic glue that keeps all of us coming back here every day, hanging out, looking at the yarn, all of those things. Okay, so a couple questions here as we're headed out. I'm going to wrap it up here, my friends. People are asking about my crochet hook. So um, I use vintage Susan Bates hooks. All of my hooks say made in the USA. This hook that I'm using right now is actually pre Susan Bates. This is probably a Coates and Clark hook. It does not have any brand insignia on it. These are the hooks that I learned with. They are an inline hook, not a tapered hook. You can see this one has seen a lot of yarn miles on it. I've literally worn off the powder coating. Could somebody pin Sweet's question for me? Because I did not see it. Somebody is asking what I put on my hook. So, because I like old hooks, they don't make these like this anymore. They make similar, but they're not the same. I make my own grippies for my hook. Now, this one's looking a little grungy. When they get yucky like this, I just pull it off and throw it away. It's very cheap. As a matter of fact, I'm going this morning to get blood work. They're going to wrap me up with this stuff. This stuff is called Coban. When you go and get your blood work, they wrap you up. This is like a self-sticking fabric tape, okay? And I make my own grippies. So when they get grungy like this, I just pull it off, throw it away. It's cheap. You can get this at any drugstore, Walmart, Wally World, Amazon, CVS, whatever pharmacy you've got in your neck of the woods. It is what I use, okay? I just fold it over. It sticks onto itself and I snip it off and I make my own ergonomic grippies. Dollar Tree has it also. I don't see Sweet's question. I think it's getting filtered, Sweet. Can you can you ask in another way cuz I think it might be getting filtered your question. Um and Paige, give me just a moment. I will show you how I ended that row. Okay, so give me just 1 second as I show how I do my little Coban. Oops, it flew away. So I just twist this. I twist it at an angle and I kind of make it go down my hook like this. And I can make my grippies any size that I want. And then I just kind of fold it back up on itself. And now I have a new little gripper. I kind of squish it all up. It picks up yarn fibers and stuff as I'm doing it. I've been doing these pumpkins, so it had a lot of browns and rebs, and that's why it's not really dirty. It's yarn fibers that get on it. But that is how I do my little ergonomic grips. I've tried everything. I've tried the beauty blenders, the pencil things. I've tried the official ones. I don't like any of them. I like this Coban. And anyhow, Paige, if you want, send me a DM if you will, or on the Discord. If you join the Discord, you could ask over there. I think it's filtering you, and I'm not sure why. Sometimes it is kind of kind of lame the way it does that, Sweet. So, guys, if you are trying to ask a question, it's getting filtered. Just send me a DM, and I can help answer the question. Okay, I try to pay really good attention to my um DMs and also Discord. We have that available as well. Um, let's see. Chat pro tip: to see your question went through, leave and come back, then scroll up to see. Very good point, Rachel. Thank you so much for the tip. Rachel is a pro. I reworded her question. Okay, wait, Red Lady, where did you go? Did I see it? I'm not seeing it. Yes, vet wrap. I do have this in other colors, Kara, but for whatever reason, I am not fond of the other colors. It has a different texture to it. It's like tackier, and I'm not fond of it. Are you going to do a craft day with your mom again? No, I am not. Whoa, Maya, that was incredible. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Did you all see that? Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, how I finish this, guys. When I started this out, I skipped the first 2 stitches of the wheat stitch and I did single crochet when I first started, okay? So, when I got to the very end here, I have my last 2 stitches. I finished my wheat stitch here. The last 2, I work single crochet into those last 2 stitches. So, I just go under both loops and do my single crochet under both. And that is how I finish. Then I'm going to start my next row here. Okay. So let's start a little bit. I still have some time before I have to leave. So we'll kind of work here a little bit for those who want to know how to turn your work. Okay. So once again, I'm going to chain 1 and now I'm going to turn my scarf over and we're going to start working back the other direction. We are on the first, we're on the front side of our work now. We're on the front side of the work. I don't know if I'm gonna do a family craft day, guys, because, my time this time with my mom is very limited. We have basically Friday and Saturday, that's it. And so JT, hang on, pause, time out. JT, is our color that we need there, is it, I know they had cinnamon before, but, the other what is the other color that we all need that we're is it Big Twist Living. Oh, I think we need rust. Isn't the color we need rust? I've been waiting for somebody to get rust. I literally have one skein of the rust color, and I've been waiting for rust. Heavy breathing. Yes. I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm supposed to be on a yarn buying halt. Rust is not available. Isn't that the one that we need though? The rust? Oh, you really got my heart pumping there, JT. You got my heart pumping this morning, friend. Okay, let's turn our work and we're going to turn here and start our next side. This chain of 1 that I made does not count as a stitch. Into the first stitch here, we're going to do a single crochet. Into the second stitch, we're going to be on a single crochet. Okay, so our first 2 stitches, I'm doing a single crochet. Wait, what did Dana K say here? Be very stingy and selfish with your time with your mom. I wish I would have been. She passed this year. Dana, very sorry for your loss. But I don't think we're going to be doing a family fun event because we literally have 2 days together, guys. And I do want to be selfish. I want to sit here with my mom on the couch and chat and just enjoy our time together with, not that I don't love you all. I do. And I know my mom would love to be on the chat and say hi and everything in person, but she won't go on camera. You guys know she doesn't like to be on screen. And so it'll kind of just be like one of those things, but we'll play it by ear. I'm not going to promise one way or the other, but right now, honestly, friends, I don't think I'm going to do a family fair. Last time they were here for longer and we had more time. And so I really just want to spend quality time with her. And I think again, I love sharing her and you guys spend a lot of time with my mom on the chat, you know? We you guys do. You see her every week. Um so we'll see. But I will say, you guys know my mom really likes making stitch markers. You guys know that about my mom. We did that last time. So I will show you a little sneak peek of one of the things I'm going to try to get my mom to work with me on while she's here is I want to make some new little hook minders. Look, it's a little penguin. Any cute little winter holly. So if my mom is feeling up to it and we're working on stitch markers, look at the pretty snowflake. We may come on live because she did really love that when we did it. So I am prepared. Look at the little Christmas gift. He has little snowflakes on him. Can you see him? I am prepared to be able to do little stitch markers with my mom on a live if she wants to, but I'm not going to pressure her to do it. So I think they would be really cute little winter ones. But wait, I have more. Hang on, I got to find them. Hold that thought. Where are they? I'm addicted to hook minders, you guys. I'm totally addicted to hook minders. Victoria, have a great day. Wait for these. Oh, look. Isn't he cute? A little Grim Reaper. What's this one? A little fat bat. Oh, wait, here's another little ghost. Aren't they cute? So I have a whole thing of Thanksgiving. Also, those are more Halloweens. Ooh, look at this pumpkin and a spider web. I really think my mom is going to be very excited about these when she comes. And so we may end up doing a live. So, friends, if you're following, make sure your bell is turned on. Okay, make sure your bell is turned on. And then look, I have some Thanksgiving ones also. A little turkey with a hat, a little fall leaf. This one looks like Christmas in the wrong spot, but anyhow, we will play it by ear. Linda, these I get off of Amazon. These are on my link tree, Amazon. So anyhow, we will see how this week goes. Okay. But no promises, guys. Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. I want to spend time with my mom. If she wants to come on and do the stitch marker thing and we do a little pop-up live, make sure your bell's turned on. And we'll kind of work on those. So I do have everything prepared if she wants to do it, but we're gonna play it by ear and see how she's feeling. All right. Does that sound agreeable to everybody? Do you like that? Oh, sweet. Great. You're in Discord. Awesome, my friend. I'll be on there later. Okay, here we go. So I did my 2 single crochets. Now we're going to be working the wheat stitch again. Okay. Once again, we're working into the next 2 stitches. Same thing I did on the row below. I skip one into the next single crochet. Now we got to come back and pick up this stitch that we missed. Yarn over, and once again, we're going to do that modified puff stitch that we've been doing the entire way, okay? So right back down in, yarn over, pull through 4, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. Okay, see how it's leaning sideways now? So here's one half of the puff or the wheat, here's the other half of the wheat. So now we're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. Once again, here's that stitch that I skipped. See them there? We're going to go through that space all the way through, grab up that loop, pull it up nice and tall, yarn over and go all the way through and pull up a loop. So now we have 5 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the first 4, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. See how the wheat is starting to form now? So this is how we do the wheat stitch on the second round. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Here's that stitch that we skipped, yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop, pull them up nice and tall, holding, yarn over, right back down in, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 4, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Is it making sense, guys, how I'm doing this? Are you starting to see how this pattern is coming together with the second row? Friends, if you want to get on the Discord and the link is not working for you, you can always DM me as well. Okay. You can always DM me, but make sure when you open the Discord link, you click on the 3 dots and say open in browser. TikTok doesn't like when you send people to external links. So here we go. You can see how that is forming up now. And on the Discord, guys, you can share pictures, you can chat. If you have crochet questions, you can ask your questions. There's lots of resources there. You can share patterns, all sorts of stuff on the Discord. There's over 200 people in the Discord now. So we have a nice little community. All the people that you see here on the chat for the most part are over in that Discord, and they will help to answer the questions. I'm on there as well. And I go through and I try to comment on people's projects and stuff. But it's just a nice way to kind of share our little crochet outside of TikTok land and have that little community. So it works great. And you can ask any question in there. I mean, try to keep it family friendly, guys. Try not to do curses and stuff like that. Same thing here on the TikTok. We try not to, we try to keep it family friendly. But that is the wheat stitch. So hopefully, guys, I've gotten you inspired today about the wheat stitch. I do have to pop off, y'all. I have to go to my appointment so I can get my blood work done. So I do have to um, head out. The hook minders, they don't hook on anything. Um, Sometimes I guess if they were too sharp, they might try to grab onto. But I use these to identify what hook I'm using. So today I used an I9 hook. This one just has two little hearts on it and an eye. So that tells me what size hook I'm using when I pick back up my work. This one here was also an I9. So again, I've got my little eye. It's a different type of charm with my little moon and star. And I just clip that onto my project. So that way, when I go back after a long time to pick up my work, I can figure out what I was doing. This one has a peace symbol with an eye. So I just make these. I get the little clasp off of Amazon if you want to make them. All of this stuff is linked on my link tree. I use a little lobster clasp. It's a big one. Okay. You want this to be able to clip around your stitches. And then I just use a little split ring that have the charm. I just add the charm, just a little something so that I can identify it. And then I get these letter charms off of Amazon as well. So that's about the hook minders. Anyhow, friends, I'm sorry I have to leave you. Thank you all so much for all of the love today, all of the taps. We are at 73,000 screen taps. Thank you for all the gifts, and a special shout out to all of our subscribers here on TikTok. Also to all of the members over on YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out and watching and chatting and making this a great day. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Pacific or Eastern, excuse me. Feel free to hop on, and tomorrow we're going to work on the pumpkin. I hope you all have a great day. Bye for now.